ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। So many questions come to our mind. Why do Gurseks, people that have meditated on Paramatma, meditated on God, why do they have to face death? What happens after death? A lot of these questions come into our mind, Pyareo. Let's discuss this, because in these last few days, so many great beings that we know have passed away. Yesterday, Bhai Harman Singh ji, Hazuri Ragi, who the entire Panth is remembering today for their great kirtan, the impact that their kirtan had on people's lives around the world. Truly a gem. And truly I can remember from my own experience, when meeting them, you could feel the radiance of God. You can feel the radiance of Vaheguru. And when they sung, it hit your heart. Before that, we remember the beautiful life of Bhai Harman Singh ji Sagguji, who passed away, a great being, a Mahampurkh, whose life radiated with Naam Simran. And because of them, Naam Simran, Vaheguru, resonates in thousands of people's lives today. So many great beings which, by naming them, they won't come to an end. But Pyareo, this question comes to our mind. We come into doubt sometimes that if these people, these great beings, are meditating on God, they're doing Naam Simran, they're doing Kirtan, and they face death, then what's the point? But let me clarify this. That death is part of Hukam. It's part of God's will. It's going to come one way or another. There's no way you can escape it. It doesn't matter if you're the greatest being. It doesn't matter if you are Guru Sahib themselves coming into this world. Guru Gobind Singh Ji, Guru Nanak Dev Ji themselves, their physical life had an end point. The physical body had an end point. But that doesn't mean it's the end. Absolutely not. If you think the death of the physical body is the absolute end, you are wrong. Guru Bani states the exact opposite. In fact, this body isn't even our actual form. This body just decays here. Death is part of Hukam. But what you do in this lifetime, that is what dictates what your future journey is going to be like. That's what I want to discuss with you. So when we remember these great Gurseks, like Bhai Harman Singh Ji, their kirtan is being remembered today. Somebody that at the level of talent of Sangeet, being able to sing and do kirtan, they were at the top. As somebody who's a loving family member, a father, they were at the top. Somebody just as a Gursik to meet, to be able to interact, their humility was unbelievable. They're remembered because they sang Gurbani. They're remembered because they attached themselves to Guru Sahib. If they didn't sing Guru's kirtan, if they didn't impact people's lives in a positive way, they wouldn't be remembered today. They did great things for humanity, and Naam was resonating within them in this life. They're remembered here. We in this world, we mourn them. We mourn their loss. Jaikar kiyo tarmiyan ka. This world does the jaikar of those great tarmi people like that. Just like when we look at the life of Guru Tegh Bahadur Maharaj, there's the words of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Sache Pacha that can be compared to this. Guru Tegh Bahadur Maharaj Ji was, of course, the form of God. They were Guru Nanak Dev Ji themselves. They were Vaheguru themselves in this world. They say, hai, sab jag payo, jai, 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 surlok, which means that in this world people are crying. They're saying ha, they're meaning they're crying. They're mourning the loss of Guru Tegh Bahadur Maharaj, because we can't physically interact with them in that way, same way anymore. But what is surlog? What are the heavens? What are all the beings beyond this physical body? What are they doing? Jai 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 Surlok. They're praising, they're so happy because they're waiting for Guru Tegh Bahadur Maharaj to come to them. Jai 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 Surlok. And now, let's compare that to these Gurseks. Let's talk about them being praised in this life and then them being praised in the world after. Let's discuss what happens after death, because this death is not the end. This is a stepping stone to a journey. What happens? You came into this life. Sache Pacha says, Prani tu aya laha land. You came into this world to get la, to earn something, to reap the benefits of Naam Simran, meditating on God, doing great righteous actions, fighting for the panth. Instead, but if a person falls in vices and ego and gets lost in the attachments of the world, then what happens is they lose the opportunity. They waste this life away. Man andha janam gavaya. Oh mind, you've wasted your life away. You didn't earn the true reason why you came into this world. Let me compare it to this. If somebody gave you $100 or £100 or 100 rupees, and they said, go to the store and buy milk, buy bread, buy sugar and salt, buy these things. They gave you a list of things to do. You take those $100, you go to the store. When you go to the store, you, instead of buying the things you needed to do, you just spent time there, wasted all the time, and then you bought a whole bunch of candy. Or let's say you didn't even go to the store. You went to the video game shop, which is giving an example, and you wasted those $100 on things that they weren't intended to be for. That's what we do in this life. When we come into this life, we have a certain amount of breaths that we're given. That's part of hukum. Now, you can't escape the amount of breaths. Dam dam sada samalta, damana birtha jai. Don't waste any of these breaths. Every breath that you have, use it to value. Don't say, oh, I'll use some in the morning and then evening I'll do some later, or I'll meditate on God when I get old, I'll use those breaths and I'll just waste the ones now. It doesn't work that way. Every breath has value, just like every dollar has a value. Every breath, every cent has a value. Every breath has a value. Use it to earn that naam, or use it to earn to meditate. Now these Gurseks that have done that, they reap the benefits. That's why we remember them in this world and they impact us. Don't think that they suffered while they're dying. No, death was going to come and they're happy. Guru Sahib compares it to a marriage. Man chao paya bairagiya. They say there's a cha, but there's a virag, there's detachment, but there's a cha, there's excitement. There's happiness there. They say this marriage with death, this marriage with God, is like them leaving all the attachments, leaving their youth behind, and them going out into their true form, their real form. They're going out and merging into God. But there are different types of people in this world. Let's talk about them very briefly. We can categorize them just slightly. We can say one is a papi, one is a sinner. Somebody that comes into this world and just sins. They don't care about God, they don't meditate on God. They don't earn anything righteous, they don't do anything good when they leave the world. That's one type of person. The second type is the person who does great deeds. Someone who is compassionate. Somebody who spreads love to the world. Somebody who does charitable acts. This person has done good deeds, but hasn't actually focused on the time to meditate on Vaheguru's name. Who hasn't dived in Gurbani and lost their ego. This person was on the way, but they're just still doing the good deeds. That isn't enough. That's the second type of person. The third type we can classify, those that go into meditations, those that try to focus, try to control their mind. Maybe they try to acquire different, acts of powers. They try to calm their mind, but they haven't actually lovingly in tuned with God's name. They just try to calm down their mind, and they're on the way. They're maybe a little bit better. They're able to control their senses a bit more. These people are the third type. Fourth, we can talk about those bhagats, those loving devotees. These people that earn God's name. These people that loved Akal Purkh. These are all described by great saints if we read about them in their lives. They describe all these different types of people in the world. The bhagats, they earn God's name. They love Vaheguru. Then the fifth type, let's talk about the Brahmagyani, those enlightened beings. Those people that lost their ego entirely and they become one with Paramatma in this world. And the sixth type, they didn't come into this world in ego or ignorance. They came here with a task. These are people that are already free and came into the world just to do a task. Yes, these beings exist. They come into the world just to do a task and then they leave the world. So they're not even living in ignorance like us. That's why sometimes the greatest beings, we might see the heroes, people that change the entire course of the life, like we might even compare them to be like avatars, incarnations of God, like Guru Nanak Dev Ji Sache Pacha. They didn't come into this world to be rid of the ego and meditate on God's name. No, they came here to teach people how to meditate on God's name. They were the form of God. And many great beings, any people that have been liberated, they choose to come back into the world to serve the Khalsa Panth, to serve humanity. That's a possibility. And now let's talk about what happens when somebody leaves their body. Pyareo, Bhagat Farid Ji, they describe in their Bani, Jind Nimani Kadiye, Hadda Ku Kuradai. They say that when death comes and it pulls your Nimani, your innocent soul out of this body. Jind Nimani Kadiye, it pulls it out and it seems painful. It's going to be painful. Your soul separating from your body, it's like your bones are breaking. It's your body, your soul, your suksham sarir, your subtle body is going to separate from this physical body, which you think you are, which you attach with your ego your entire life. Which you think that, what do you mean? I'm never going to get wrinkles. I have to, cover my zits. I have to become strong and fit. I have to show my biceps to everybody. Whatever it may be. We attach and we are so proud of this body. But you're going to be pulled out of it. Now what happens after that? There's an itihas where Guru Hargobind Sahib Sache Pacha, they speak about this path that's so long and treacherous. It's a very difficult path. We read Guru Nanak Dev Ji describes as well. Api ne pog pog kai hoy pasmar paur sadaya vadda hoa dunidar gal sangal kat chalaya othe karni kirat vachiya behlekha kar samjaya thao na hovi paundai hun suniya kya ruaya man anda janam gavaya. To translate that you enjoy this life, but then you embark on this journey afterwards, meaning there is a journey. Hoy pasmar paur sadaya. You travel this journey afterwards. And on this path, it's very long. These people that might have been great, owners and businessmen and, part of the 1% that we say that are the greatest and the most rich, Vadahua Dunidar, people are voting for them. People elect them. Thousands of people, millions of people follow them. They're known around the world. Means absolutely nothing. Now they have chains around their neck because they didn't meditate on God's name. This long path is difficult. Now with Guru Hargobind Sahib Sache Pacha, Gurseks said to all of these people that were trying to describe this long path, the Gurseks said that we can travel all the way there and back within seconds. And all of the other people that were scholars in this, and there were bhagats in this aspect that researched into this afterlife, they said no, it takes a year to travel. They asked Guru Hargobind Sahib Sache Pacha, and Guru Hargobind Sahib Sache Pacha says for the normal person it is very difficult. But for these Gurseks of mine, those people that are in love with God, they break all these rules. They can go travel back, nothing can touch them. So let's talk about this. जम का ठेंगा बुरा है, ओ nahi सहया जाए. Gurbani says that it doesn't matter how great you are in this world, because those beatings of Jamkal, the messengers of death, they're very difficult. They're difficult to bear. Oh nahi sahya jaye. Now, when the beatings are happening, and the person might be some Mahampurkh, some people through their experience of reaching and meditating, they see glimpses of these things. There's beatings. People are being dragged behind camels, some even say, all the way to this place. Now, in Gurbani, Sache Pacha describes that the jams, they try to take away the good deeds. But there's one thing that they cannot even touch, and that's the Naam. That's Naam Kamai. The more Simran, the more meditation you do here in this world, that can't be touched by the messengers of death. That becomes your protection. Jo girda hamara raam kar, dukh lagga na pai, doesn't let you be affected by that pain. But even if you think that, oh, I did a charitable act once, oh, I spoke the truth once, these are good deeds, yes. But guess what? When you're in such a state of pain and you're being beat, they trade these deeds of yours to make it easier, make this path easier for you. They loot you. They take it away from you. And by the time you actually reach the court of Dharmaraj, the court of where you are going to be judged, where all accounts are going to be opened up in front of you. That's where Dharmaraj sits you down. You sit in the court. You cannot say anything. All the accounts of your life are put in front of you. And your accounts are read to you, and you're judged based on that. The Dharmaraj's court. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Sachi Pacha describes, Nanak Jio Paye Keh Likhnave Dharam Bahalya. Othe there, Othe Sache Hi Sach Nibde, Chunvak Kade Jajmalya. Thao na payan, Thao na Nanak Jio Paye Keh Likhnave Dharam Bahalya. Othe Sache Hi Sach Nibde, Chunvak Kade Jajmalya. तेरे नायर ते से जन गए हार गए से ठगन वालिया लिखनावे धर्म बहालिया. Sache Pacha here is explaining that there in Dharamraj's court, Dharamraj is an appointed person by God that sits there and reads this account. There, the people that are meditating on God's name, they are honored in such a way. Jinni naam te aaya gaye mein sakat kaal nanak te mukhujle keti shutti naal. They are honored, their faces glow. They're honored as kings, they're respected. And Sache Pacha even describes Dharmarai dar kagad fare jan nanak lekha samja. The Sache Pacha describes that there Dharmaraj, when they see the person is such a devotee, such a great being, Dharmaraj rips their account and say, I'm not able to judge you. You're a beloved of God. And even to this extent, that those people that are meditating, those people that are bhagats, that love God and earn this naam, they become invisible to Jamduts. The messengers of death don't touch them. And they don't even have to go to Dharmaraj's court, they go directly and merge with God. That's the power of Naam Simran. Now, when we look at these great Gurseks in history or in today's day, we don't have the ability to judge them. We can't say, well, I think that person was a great person and that person must have merged with God. We don't know the truth. There's no way we can know. Guru Sahib knows, and those accounts are going to be read in a Akal Purukh's court. Somebody could be a great pakhandi. They could be a great fake person, a hypocrite in this world. And we might think they're great. But in Dharmaraj's court, everything is going to be known. And somebody we might slander in this world, that person is a very bad person. He's definitely going to go to hell. But in Dharmaraj's court, Guru Sahib knows everything. Maybe his accounts are all going to be ripped. Maybe that person was so truthful that they were taking the slander of the world and they were earning righteousness and meditating on God's name in private. But let's look at the Pappis. The Pappis go along this path. When their accounts are read, they're ashamed. Nanga dojak chalya. That's what Guru Sahib says. When they go into that court, they walk into this court naked. They have no honor. Their face is blackened. Their face is blackened, and then they have to go into dojak, which is a term referring to Narak, which is heaven and hell. Now in Gursikhi, according to Gurmat, as compared to Abrahamic religions, these are seen to be temporary places. They're like pit stops. Now, I don't want to get into the debate. Somebody might be saying, oh, well, no, these are just states of mind. They're not actual places. No, Sat Pyareo. They're states of mind as well. In Gurbani, they are mentioned as states of mind, but they're also referred to as physical places. Just like this place is all Paramatma, it's an illusion. It's not here, but it's also here. In the same way, everything is Paramatma. They're physical, they're states of mind, but they're also these physical places that you travel to. Both examples are given in Gurbani. I'm not going to get into that debate in this video. We'll save that for a different time. This person that's a papi, a sinner, they go into this state, into what we call nark, because they've done the bad deeds. They might have pretended to enjoy themselves here. Now they go there, and then they go back into the incarnation of life and death. They have to earn and come back into this human life, this jewel of a life, to be able to earn God's name and get that chance again. That's the beauty. That's why the value of Naam is there. This isn't to say, oh, why they're being punished. No, it's not a punishment. It's a way to realize the value of Vaheguru's name and to put praise to those that are doing righteousness. It's like saying that why don't the Canadian courts, why don't the Indian or the UK courts, why don't they put the same punishment towards people that are criminals and people that are, righteous citizens? Well, then if you give punishment to the citizens, or you say the criminals can just walk away, then what's the point of being a good citizen? Therefore, kind of in comparison, it's a way to praise Paramatma's name. It's a game, Paramatma's lila. Mola khel kare sawape. This is the beautiful creative game of Paramatma. Now the people that have done righteous acts, they're charitable people, the Punni people. They've done great things, but by the time they reach Dharamraj, maybe they've been looted of all their great things. Maybe they've done great things, and maybe they go into this place what we call Swarg. They've done great things, enjoy yourself for a time being, and then go back into this cycle and earn God's name. Really realize what you're valuing. Now keep this in mind, the karmas that we do, let's say that person does a great amount of things, those righteous, he's not going to lose it all. Maybe in this next time, he earns the ability to do more sangat. He or she is born into a family of Gurseks. He or she is surrounded by these great beings, where growing up they're earning God's name. And maybe somebody else is completely born in a place where they have absolutely no ability to get into Sangat. Yes, these karmas do play a role, but then that person in this life, they still have the ability to be able to shape their own destiny. That's why within this ignorance, there's free will to be able to shape, and you can be able to absolutely attain liberation within seconds. That's what Guru's Kirpa is. That's the power of Sadh Sangat. You can go into a different video on our channel about the free will and hukam and how does God reside inside of bad people as well. But to talk about this, that they're in that cycle. Some go into a cycle, they're trying to earn. We can look at it in Gurbani, we can look at it inside of Ityas, this Siddhant. Then let's speak about those people that are just sort of trying to meditate. They may go into states, they might be able to go to Saramkhand, but they don't get into that state of complete merging with one with Paramatma, becoming one with Paramatma in Sachkhand, becoming that form of absolute truth. The Pagats, on the other hand, these devoted Gurseks, they don't face difficulty in this life. Don't ever put this doubt in your mind that that person died such a painful death. Even if they become a shaheed, their bodies might be torn apart. They might be shot. They could have a heart attack. They could have a stroke. They could pass away in a car accident. These are just excuses. Death happens when the allotted time of your breaths come to an end. The excuse of death is there. And when time is there, when your time has come to an end, then you leave this body. That's going to happen to anybody. Whatever the excuse that this world plays, or creation plays, what nature plays for you to die, that's irrelevant. But the truth is, those people that are meditating on God's name, these people that we look up to and say that, wow, what a great being. They shaped my life. They changed my life. Keep in mind that their death was never painful. Kya jana kiv marenge, kaisa marna hoy. We don't know how we're going to die, how somebody else is going to die. This is unknown to us. But the truth is, kya jana kiv marenge, kaisa marna hoy. Jekar sai manona visre, ta sehla marna hoy. That if somebody recites God's name, if everybody is meditating on God's name, and Vaheguru Paramatma is in every cell of your body, it's resonating, then when you pass on to this journey, when you pass and merge on with Paramatma and leave this body, it's not painful. Definitely not painful. Instead, it's blissful. It's absolute bliss. It's intuitive. It's passive. You don't even feel like it. And Pyareo, it's true. My brothers have seen, these Gurseks have seen people where they've meditated on God's name, and when time comes from there to leave their body, they're in the hospital bed. And they were saying, Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru. They're reciting God's name. They're not painful. They're not shocked, and they're saying, oh my God, oh no, I'm going to die. Truly, this is an experience that they've seen with their own eyes. They see this mother look at everybody in the room, and then she says Fateh 5 times. She says Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh to everybody in that room 5 times. They say, why are you saying Fateh? They're saying, because look, the Panj Pyare, the 5 beloved ones have come to take me. They come to take me to God's court. There's no jamdoot here, there's nothing. They're saying, she said Fateh 5 times with a smile. She says Vaheguru, and she leaves her body. I've seen with my own eyes Gurseks reciting Vaheguru, meditating. You can feel at their last moment such a strong radiance of Vaheguru, of Paramatma, of Naam, Simran. And truly, intuitively, they just, as if water is poured into water. Truly, that's what it feels like. There's no pain, there's such positivity in that room when they pass. They close their eyes as if they're embarking, saying goodbye, that I'm about to go. Enjoy your time, my time here is done. With their happiness. These are the traits of Gurseks. Even if somebody passes away in a car accident, we're not able to judge. But Pyaro, the truth is, Jo gird hamara raam kar, that those jamdoots, those messengers of death cannot touch these Gurseks. So as a Gursek, there's absolutely no fear of death. There's absolutely no fear of what's going to come. In fact, there is no such thing as death. Death is just an illusion. Kaun mua re kaun mua. Brahm gyani milkar ho bichara. That's what Gurbani says. That everything just merges in with that Paramatma. The Brahm gyani is on this next hand. They're living in this life and they're liberated. Absolutely liberated. Their ego is gone. They're just shedding their skin. They're just shedding their body. They're already one with God while they're living in this world. They don't need to go anywhere else. The Brahmgyanis have become absolutely one with God. These great saints, these great beings. They don't need to go to Dharmaraja's court. They don't need to travel through any journeys. No, they've won here. Vaheguru is here. Vaheguru is everywhere. They go from Sargun, the form, directly into Nirgun. While living their Jivan Mukt. Whilst living, they're liberated from this world. And then the 6th form, which I want to talk about. If you are liberated, you go into these courts. You're out of this cycle of birth and death. It's true that even, we read in Gurbani, "Eh loke sukh paya, nahi petet tarmaraya." They say that I've experienced all the bliss I needed to in this world. I don't need to go and, put myself in front of Dharmaraj anymore. No, all of that is gone. Now, I go and I'm free. And the love between Akal Purkh and these beloved devotees is this. Even in Ityas, we read that these Gurseks, when they fell in love with Guru Sahib, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Sache Pacha said, what do you want? How can I bless you? Because you've done such great things in this world. And these Gurseks, while they're becoming shaheed, they're becoming martyred on this battlefield. They say that Guru Sahib, bless us. We don't want liberation. We don't want anything. We don't want any kingdoms. Raj na jao, mukta na jao, man preet charan kamlare. We want to love you. So let us come back into this world. Let us serve you. And yes, these beings, they do serve in this world. Maybe in a physical way and in a non-physical way. Maybe they come into an incarnation. Again, they do the task that they need to, but they're already liberated. They might come in the form of these liberated beings. They might come in the form to help somebody or teach the Khalsa Panth. This is what the Khalsa Panth needs to do in the future. They take form, they serve Guru Sahib continuously. This is how we truly know that the Khalsa Panth never dies. They truly are immortal. We say the Khalsa is truly dead once they take Amrit. Truly they are. Somebody reciting God's name. Liberated Baba Deep Singh, they've not gone anywhere. By Mani Singh Ji, no. These great Gurseks serving the time, these great beings, they're serving the Khalsa Panth today. And those that serve the Khalsa Panth, give their head to the Guru, they become that form. They're liberated whilst living, Pyareo. Hopefully this makes sense to you. That death is nothing to be fearful. When someone passes away, we're remembering by Nirmal Singh Ji, Hazuri Ragi. Wow, when they sing, it hits your heart. Meeting them, entirely a different thing. People like, by Sagguji, by Harbhajan Singh Ji Sagguji, who just a few days they passed away. And prior to that, so many Gurseks locally here as well. While I was growing up, I met so many Gurseks. And then we remember people in the times in the late 1900s, by Fauja Singh Ji, you remember Sant Jarnail Singh Ji, you remember by Rantir Singh Ji, you remember Sant Baba Nand Singh Ji, Sant Baba Ishwar Singh Ji, these great beings that changed people's lives. We remember by Veer Singh Ji. Wow. When you look at them, truly they've become one with God. They're the form of God. Their life resonates that today. It's not something to say, oh wow, they passed away. No. They're in complete bliss. They're absolutely blissful. They're in the form of God. And a lot of times these beings, they come back and they serve the Khalsa Panth. What do? Our job into this world is to make sure we don't waste our time. We don't want to end up on that other place. That's why in Gurbani, Sache Pacha wakes you up sometimes. And they say, don't waste your life. Mananda janam gavaya. They say, wake up. Take value in this life. Recite God's name. Don't mourn over that. Even Guru Amar Das Ji says, after I pass away, Kirtan karyo nirman jiyo. To do Kirtan when I pass away. When these Gurseks pass away, the Khalsa Panth shouldn't be crying. You don't mourn it. You don't get sad upon yourself. What a great death. No, you celebrate it. That this person celebrated and they've won. Victory. They've achieved it. Manjita Jagji. They've won over the world. Now let's follow in those footsteps and let's do the same. Death is marriage. Marriage is a beautiful time of love, of union. And the Gurseks never die. They marry Paramatma. Let's follow this path so one day, as a soul bride, we can look forward to Paramatma. We can look towards our marriage. The death of Shaheed Singhs and Singhaniya, it's the marriage of love with God. And that's why Kabir Ji, they also explain this. They say, Kabir Surg Nark te main raheo. Satgur ke prasad. Satgur te prasad. Because of Guru Sahib's kirpa, because of true Guru's kirpa, I've been free from Surg and Nark. I don't need to be enjoined in any of these things anymore. Charanam kamal ki mauj mein. Truly, I'm in this loving bliss of the lotus feet of Guru Sahib. From now, on and on, from now, during this life, and then after this life as well. Completely on one such kind of a Nirankar. We want to completely go and merge, become one with that Satchikhand, with Nirankar, Paramatma, the formless, and truly recite God's name, Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Waheguru, this is what's going to go with you. Gurbani says, not your knowledge, not your wealth, none of this kind of stuff. These Gurseks, they might have accumulated something along this path, but they left it in this world. Nothing's going to go with you. Accumulate that is going to praise you, that is going to allow you to become one, make you strong, going to protect you. And in fact, use it as to be able to make it you invisible to all the negativity. For a Gursik, none of that exists. Truly, when people say, oh, it doesn't mean anything to me, in that mentality, in that state, of course it doesn't. Because not a sort of, we don't know any of that kind of stuff. Because you're just merged one with Paramatma. Yet those things, for those people that do not meditate on God's name, yes, they exist. And they walk down that path. So Paramatma Pyareo, oh my beloved brothers and sisters, recite God's name. Waheguru, Waheguru, Waheguru. Take inspiration from these Gurseks. And Waheguru, Waheguru. Read Gurbani. Take value in this life. I can't express that enough. There's nothing left to say. So iniyan bintiyan barwan karniyan ji. While talking, while speaking, I've made many mistakes. Fateh parwan karni ji. Vaheguru ji ka Khalsa. Vaheguru ji ki Fateh.